to glorify Him. And what are we going to do with that? Are we going to use it for ourselves? Are we going to use it to benefit ourselves? Or are we going to take the time that God has given us and use it to grow closer to Him and to bring people to Him? Are we going to use the time that God has given us and give it back to God in order to do things for His glory? Because a lot of times the way we live our lives, and none of us are an exception, is we use our time for ourselves. We use our time for our own pleasure. We use our time for our own enjoyment, for our own rest. And we forget that God has given us a limited amount of time on this earth. And we must then give it back to God. Another example is money and wealth and possessions. God has given us blessings in so many different ways. And we can either take those things for ourselves and hoard them for ourselves, or we can give it back to God. Another example is our intelligence, our mind. We have been given a mind from God, and we can use that for our own satisfaction to be successful in school or to progress and get a job and things like that, which are all good things. But at the end of the day, we must remember that God has given that to us, and so we must give it back to God. And so my simple message today is to realize that everything we have is from God, and we must then give it back to God. We must not hoard these things for ourselves or hoard it from other people, but understand that whatever we have has come from God, and therefore we must give it back to Him and give it and share it with the people around us. And then the most important thing that God has given us was His Son, Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ came into this world and He suffered and died on the cross. He suffered and died on the cross for our sins so that we might be saved. He gave us the gift of salvation so that we might be saved from our sins. And the question is, what are we going to do with that gift? Are we going to hoard it for ourselves and be happy that we will one day be in heaven? Or are we going to share it with the people around us? Are we going to share that great gift that Jesus Christ gave to us to the people around us? We have been given a duty and we have been given a responsibility to share the message of Jesus Christ with those around us and not to hoard it for ourselves. And to go on top of that, Jesus not only, when Jesus saved us from our sins, He set us free from our sins. And what are we going to do with that gift? Are we going to live lives of holiness? Or are we going to live lives where we disregard the gift of God? Where we ignore the gift that God has given us? God has set us free from our sins. Are we going to turn away from sin and follow after Him in righteousness? Or are we going to reject that gift or not paying attention to that gift and live however we would like? So my simple message to us when we are going into our colleges or our workplaces, let us remember that everything we have comes from God. And therefore we have a responsibility to use what God has given us. Use things for the glory of God and share with the people around us what God has given to us so that this world might be blessed and this world might be saved. And so David says, "But who am I and who are my people that we should be able to give as generously as this? Everything comes from you, and we have given you only what comes from your hand." Let this also be our prayer, and let us be people who give of what God has given to us. Thank you.